It is starting. Hello, it's Always in Love. I'm Amanda, and we're here with Natasha, and we have a special guest joining us for our buddy read tonight. Author Kay Webster is joining us. She's actually the writer of the book that we're going to talk about tonight. And tonight we are doing what we call a buddy read, which means that Natasha and I basically pick a book that's out of our comfort zone, a book that we haven't read before, and we read it and talk about it, and then we review it. This week we decided to pick something completely out of our comfort zone. We picked Blue Hill Blood by Elizabeth Gray, which is also known as author Kay Webster, because this book is a very psychological suspense, craziness, killing book, and it's not really something that either of us had read before, and it really sounded interesting. We like most of author Kay Webster's books, so we thought we'd give it a shot. Natasha, can you tell us a little bit about the book in our spoiler-free synopsis?
So this is a spoiler-free synopsis, and it's an author is writing a book, and he has to go to. He's writing this suspense thriller, and he's a world-renowned kind of author. And he's at kind of a writer's block, and his wife, who's amazing, decides to help him out, and she offers him to go to Blue Hill to kind of do some research. When he gets there, people start ending up dead, according to his Facebook post, because he keeps putting teasers on it, and their deaths are almost identical to the teasers. So you kind of just go through this suspense, though, like who done it, why are they doing it, and you kind of just he kind of has flashbacks back from his childhood. He kind of had something tragically happen to him, and he's living through some of this stuff kind of brings triggers. Certain people remind him of certain people from his past, but his wife she's kind of like the steadfast, pillar for him, keeping him on the straight and narrow. And I'm going to leave it at that because there's just so much to it. I don't want to give it away.
Okay, I'm going to put you on the spot. If you had to use one sentence to describe the plot of this book, like one short sentence, what would you say?
Can I cuss?
Sure.
Okay, okay. It's a psychological mindfuck.
Okay, so my one sentence is...
I don't know what's going on with the computer. I can't really... I don't see you guys.
It working now? Looks like she may be having technical difficulties. My one sentence synopsis for this book is if Stephen King and Sandra Brown had a book baby, it would be this book. You have the craziness of Stephen King and the murders and everything, and then you have the super suspense and the whodunit and the twists and the turns of a Sandra Brown book, along with the romance.
I'm sorry, my computer keeps jacking up. I don't even know how to see you guys.
Oh no.
There we go. Okay, sorry. Cut out like a whole section there, so you have to repeat yourself.
I described your book as one sentence that is a cross between if a Stephen King book and a Sandra Brown book had a baby, it would be this book. And Natasha was...
No, if this is my connection or what?
I'm not sure. We're not having any in between Natasha and I. Do you want to drop off and rejoin? Okay, Natasha, what is your one sentence description of this book to get somebody to read it?
I would say, oh my goodness, this is a tough one. Fatal Attraction meets well, you took Stephen King, so I mean it is kind of like a Fatal Attraction thriller, because you just don't know what's going to happen in all of this. So it's kind of one of those crazy things.
Okay, so if you haven't read the book and you're planning to read the book and you don't want any spoilers, this would be a good time to kind of leave. We're going to start going through the book a little bit, section by section, and kind of seeing if we can get Christy to answer some questions and what we were thinking as we were going through this book. So the first kind of starts out with what happened to him as a child. Now, this is completely messed up. What did you think about kind of his injuries and what happened when we first started going through the book?
He was, I kind of just heartbroken for him for what he went through. I mean, that's just horrific what he had to go through, and and watching. And this is, again, we're giving spoilers out, so if you don't want to do it, drop off and hit delete now. For his sister to be suffering from this cancer, and then the parents struggling and watching their child, because you're going through cancer treatments, that stuff, they're killing you. And for his dad to snap and then do what he did, it's kind of just sad, because he survived something completely horrific, and he almost, like I felt like he rose from the ashes because of his amazing grandma, that I thought she was cool as everything, for him to give him a journal to write down his anger. I mean, that's kind of just amazing for anybody going through grief or any kind of like to write down your thoughts, angry or unangry. And I thought that was pretty impressive that the grandma did that. So I really, really kind of fell hard for her.
Okay, Christy, the beginning of the book is the first of your massively screwed up scenarios. How did you get the idea for the dad to just kind of, they were in this pain, this suffering. How did you get the idea for him to just kind of blow everyone away?
Well, okay, so a lot of my stuff comes from true life. And my husband actually read me an article in the news about a man who killed his family because the daughter had cancer, and he couldn't bear to live that kind of life with his child dying, so he killed them all and killed himself. And I was like, man, it really disturbed me, and I was like, that is so sad. I'm like, what would make someone do that? And then I thought, well, what if one of the family members lived? Like, how would they deal with that? And I was like, I think I have a story. And then I was like, give me my computer.
I love how you take like the most disturbing things that you hear in the news and make a story out of it.
Okay, hold on a second. Hold on.
Okay.
Get dog.
So, how would you feel if you were the survivor, Natasha?
How would I feel if I was the survivor? Like, yeah. Henry?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Like, would you go crazy and deal with it like he did, or would you kind of be a little bit more sane? Well, I don't know.
I'm thinking I think I would be Henry. I'd be like, ah! I mean, like, how can you be normal after that? Especially being disfigured too, and losing part of your hearing, and like, I mean, your dad tried to blow your head off. Like, how can you not lose your mind a little bit after that? Hey, Matt, can you call the dog? She keeps running in here and opening the door. Sorry.
So, the next part, you kind of hit it about it, Natasha, is with his grandma. He's kind of healing, and he's in the hospital, and his grandma is kind of taking care of him. She brings him books to read and a journal and things like that. You said that she was kind of like, she was really impressive in this. How did you have someone in your life that you kind of like based this character on, or was this just something that you would want if you were in that situation?
Well, my own grandmother's that way. She's very like take charge. When my mom had issues, she just swooped in and took care of us all. So yeah, that grandma was just like my grandmother. Like, she, take care of business and sit over there and knit a blanket, while taking care of business and giving you books. I mean, like, that is my grandmother. And she's still that way, and she's, she's tough. So just like his grandma.
Has your grandma read the book?
No, I don't want her to. No, she's read a few of my books, but this is one she probably shouldn't read because she's still a little bit fragile because she's old. For mine. Mine is fragile.
Okay, so he goes back to school and gets bullied. I know that, you know, we've all had experience with mean girls especially, but mean people in school. Natasha, what did you think about the next part where he goes back to school and he faces all this kind of bullies and these guys that are picking on him all the time?
You know, I kind of like, again, I have this huge like I felt for him, and I just wanted to like give him a hug because he's just, dealing with the scarring, and then he really couldn't hear at the time, and he was going through all of this stuff, and he kind of, kids today are assholes. They just don't, they're not compassionate enough, and I just really felt like, for him, if I would have probably lost my temper and probably got kicked out of school, I would have probably started fist fights or something. But I really, really liked how Henry dealt with it and moved forward. And then, the journal, that's the whole thing of what again, here comes back to grandma again, how grandma just had him start writing it. And I think you have the question for it. Christy, can you tell us the other ways to kill Adam?
Yeah, I really the 23 different ways. I really want to read all of the different ways that you come up with.
Well, I could come up with a lot. I could.
We know you can.
Yeah.
I know, you should write a little novella that's the 23 ways to kill Adam.
Yeah, I really should. That's a good idea. I could do that.
You should.
Totally gruesome, though. It would have to be horror.
Yeah, some of those were really creative and really inventive, and I was like, wow, I kind of wonder what you would think of for the rest of these. I wondered if you actually wrote out 23 different ways, or if you just stuck with the couple that you had.
I just did a couple, but I could come up with 23. I really could. But I only did a few, because I figured it was overkill if I listed them all.
Okay, so the next part, it kind of goes back to the present, where he is trying to finish his next novel, and he's getting writer's block, and he is basing his book off this little town called Blue Hill, and his wife arranges for him to go visit it and kind of take a break, a kind of like writer's retreat type thing, to get over his writer's block, and things start happening from there. What kind of things start happening once he gets to town? There's all kinds of little quirky people in this little town.
Well, I kind of live in a town like that, so if you're to go into we have more bars than we do have food establishments in our town, and you were to order a dirty martini, I can actually know a bartender that would probably either throw a beer or a whiskey in your face saying this is what you're going to have. So I kind of understand, like, he was an outsider coming in, and they kind of looked at him like he was different because they weren't ready. But the mayor instantly rubbed me the wrong way. It's just like, that guy could, at times I think he's somebody else in a couple other of her books that she writes. But anyway, the mayor just kind of has this total creeper vibe to me. And then the sheriff, and just, I don't know, it's kind of cool how they met, the whole accident, and then, him helping the young lady get back in town, and then he just kind of, the town has a cool vibe, but I just do feel like he is definitely the outsider looking in.
Christy, do you read a lot of Stephen King? Because everything about this town reminded me of like Twin Peaks or Stephen King or some of those crazy little towns with all the crazy little people in it. So he meets this.
I can't hear anything Natasha's saying.
Can you hear us now?
I can hear you.
Okay. He meets the sheriff's daughter on the side of the road, and she reminds him of his dead sister, Helen, which kind of takes off into a completely different weird tangent. And I was like, oh, why did you do this to me, Christy?
Oh, because it was fun.
Fun. Twisted is her idea of fun. She heard it from her. So he starts hanging out with this girl and feels really protective of her because in his mind, reminds him of his sister Helen. So she, he does all these protective things with her, and he's hanging out with her, and things just get kind of weird. And we learn about all the people in the town, and he meets all these different people. But the weirdest one was his crazy stalker, Clive. And it always makes me think that Christy had this crazy stalker that Clive is based off of, or wants to have one. Or maybe there's a little misery thrown in. I don't know. But I think she just wants to have somebody crazy show up at her door or something. I don't know.
No, Clive is based on me.
Based on you.
I'm the creepy one.
But Clive really wasn't that creepy once you kind of start thinking about it. I mean, he just wanted to talk to his favorite author, which is kind of what we're doing, I guess. So maybe we're the Clives in this situation.
Hey, and we asked about getting the 23 ways to kill Adam, so we're definitely the Clive people.
Yeah, I know. He wanted the bootleg too. So see.
Yeah, and so we just asked for the bootleg. So we are now Clive, but I am not taking one for tribute with Lisa.
Yeah, sorry. I don't think I'll take one for the team for this one either. But I will admit to being a Clive. So things just progressively get weirder and weirder from the story. There's all kinds of twists and turns. People start showing up dead. He starts writing these snippets.
I can't hear anything she's saying.
You can't hear Amanda?
Now it caught back up. That was weird.
So there's all these snippets that they want social media presence because that's how the indie authors do it, which cracked me up too. And so he's doing all these snippets on Twitter and Facebook, and it's really, gaining his popularity. And then these people start ending up dead in this little town the same way that he writes in these snippets. And obviously, the new person in town, the mayor and the sheriff all think that it's him and start accusing him. And then his wife runs into the rescue. So what did you think about her showing up in this, Natasha?
Well, I like her. She's awesome. I mean, first thing she does, she doesn't freak out. She doesn't want to kill the chick, because instantly for me, I would be trying to figure out how to use an ice pick and I'm not going to tell you how I do it, but I would try and get rid of the chick. I just like how she was calm. She's like, go take a shower. Here's a pill, swallow it, and get the out of here. And I just liked her. She's just cool as shit. I would totally do it.
Do you think that she was kind of crazy in her own way for putting up with his crap and kind of just taking care of it?
No, because I don't know. I have a soft spot for her. I just think she loves this guy. She loves him, and she will do anything to protect the man she loves. Now, as with the book goes on, you kind of see that she was worried, when they were in college, they got together and all that kind of stuff. But I don't know, the way, I don't know. For me, I liked her. I just think she's kind of a great character, and she just didn't freak out, because most women would freak out when this would happen. I mean, Christy, how did you come up with her to stay so calm and collective? You didn't hear me, did you?
Do what?
Did you hear me?
I hear you now. Whatever you just said, I didn't hear anything. I don't know why it keeps cutting you out. That's so weird.
What did you think? How did you come up with the wife to be so calm and collective? Like, most wives would completely tip the scale.
It's cutting out again.
How did you give her personality, Lisa, her personality? How did you come up with her protecting everyone and being so calm all the time?
I wonder if we should type it.
Yeah. I can't hear that. I don't know why. I can see you guys. Something about you want to know why she did that, like what makes her personality make her do that? Is that what I got from the choppiness? Basically, yeah. How she's so calm. Well, basically, she's known him since college, since they were. How did you keep Lisa calm? I just gave her some Xanax. No, I'm just kidding. No, she's known him since college. She fell in love with him basically pretty early on because he was special and he was different and he was clever and all these things. And then she saw the monster side of him, but it wasn't like enough of a monster side that it scared her away. Like she felt like she could fix him in a way, you know, for all these years later, and they've built this life together, and he really is a good guy when he's not losing his mind, you know what I'm saying? And so she loved the good guy enough to help, you know, deal with the bad guy. She loved both parts of him. And so she knew like this was nothing new for her. She knew like, if I want to keep this life and I want to keep my husband, I've got to do these things to fix him, you know? So whenever he goes off on his little benders, I come in and I sweep it all up, and then we go back to being our normal family again. This is our life, you know? So she's calm because this isn't her first rodeo. Did you hear all that?
Yeah.
Yeah, would there be a breaking point for her with Hank? Like, could he do something that would be?
You know, I don't think that there really is. I mean, because he would never do anything to her children, and she loves her children because he loves his children too. And I mean, I think that would be the only thing, but he wouldn't. I think that Lisa's the type that she would probably kill for him if she had to, you know? Like, she's cleaned up his messes. She loves him. Like, she's protective over him. So, I mean, if she slept with Clive for him, she would just do about anything. His little yellow fingernail.
So gross. So gross. You're so twisted. So you mentioned that she pretty much does anything for him, but I mean, in the future, as his girls grow older, he has girls. He would to say that maybe somewhere down the line, he doesn't think one of them is Helen.
Well, I think if that was to happen, then that might be Lisa's breaking point. If it had something to do with their kids. I mean, you just never know. I feel like he'll always find that other person. Like, he'll always find that Helen out in the crowd. Like, he's able to, you know, keep his family life separate in his mind, but there'll always be that girl. Is that her? You know, whether it's at these author signings or wherever, if he's out there writing, like he always sees someone that reminds him of her in some way. So there's always, it's just going to be a vicious cycle. There's no end. Like, there's no happy end here. It just keeps going.
Okay, so we're getting to the end of the book, and we think the killer might be Clive. We think the killer might be the sheriff. So we get all these different people, and then we finally find out that Clive sees Hank killing the old lady, and we find out that it really is him doing this, which was just like one of those crazy aha moments that, you know, you had an inkling that he may have done it, but there's no way he's the good guy that he could be doing the really bad stuff. So how did you start to play that into the story? Like, was that your idea from the beginning?
Yeah, it was always my idea, and I needed a scapegoat, so that's why I made Creepy Clive. So, I mean, like, he needed to be just creepy enough and just curious enough and just enough to make you want him to be the bad guy. And Hank was just likable enough that you didn't want him to be the bad guy. And so it's like, you know, I always knew I was going to have somebody to be the scapegoat for him until it all came to a head. Because I kind of, you know, I'm really obsessed with this. I don't want you to fully hate my bad guys. I want you to kind of like them in some way. Even if it's like this much, I want you to like them a little bit. And so this was my first dip into that situation where, you know, I wanted you to still like him a little bit.
So Hank gets arrested, and then his wife comes up with this plan to rope Clive in and make him think that he's volunteering as tribute to go to jail for Hank, you know, volunteering for the crimes. And then she got a double bonus because he touched a lady and he had his fingerprints there and blood under his fingernails and all kinds of grossness. So she kind of really got away with it, you know, convincing him to do anything for his favorite author.
I think Lisa is almost like her own world of psychologist. Like she knew how to manipulate. Well, she didn't really manipulate Clive, but she strongly suggested Clive to help his favorite author in this situation.
Yeah. Oh, go ahead.
Are there any authors or people that you would do something so drastic for?
You know, like if Pepper Winters was like, hey, Christy, you know, I need you to, you know, take this bloody knife and go put it under your pillow. I'd be like, okay. I'm totally kidding. But
Are
maybe.
you really?
Maybe.
Okay, so we get the fact that Clive gets arrested for it, he gets put away, and then it kind of comes out all of his different diagnoses and all these different issues, and she's basically been the puppet master all along, pulling the strings behind and, you know, not really controlling him, but trying to, but controlling all the situations around him. What struck me as interesting, though, is the fact that the sheriff's daughter killed the mayor and herself. I still think Lisa did that. Did she kill him?
You still think Lisa did it?
I still think she killed the mayor's daughter. There's only so much that a rational woman can do.
No, get out of here. Sorry, I got someone distracting me. Hey, come here.
Hi.
Okay,
Yeah, she's gonna be shy.
That's funny that you think it's Lisa. I'm not going to tell you what I think. Or do you want me? It's not Lisa. Okay, so that brings me to, okay, I know you'll get to the end in a minute, but if you think Lisa killed Alex, then who was at the end?
That's what I was gonna ask you a bit. I think Alex did not die because, you know, you're kind of psychotic, you gotta love him characters kind of have 29,000 lives and they never die.
Cut out, all I heard was you're psychotic. I don't know. Well, let me tell you what I think. I left it very vague and open so you could think whatever you wanted to think, because I like doing that. I want you to use your imagination. But this is the way it worked in my mind. Her mom, the sheriff, did not want her daughter to go down for killing the sleazy mayor. So when she learned that her daughter had killed the mayor, she helped her daughter cover up all this crime, fake her death, whatever. Anyway, so at the very end, when the girl's there, you're like, oh, who's this girl? Her name's Candace, just like Candace from the story. And blue fingernail polish, just like Alex. Pie with Henry, just like Alex. You know?
And she says, I want to touch you, Scarface.
He says what?
Yeah.
When she says, I want to touch you, Scarface. And that's what made me think that she's not dead, because she said Scarface.
What? I can hear.
So at the end, the very
having technical difficulties.
I know. So Hank at the end.
I can't hear any of y'all.
I still think it was another crazy stalker who was just like Clive, only crazier.
It could have been. It could have been. See, I never said for sure. Yeah. Oh, when at the end, Candace wrote, I want to touch you, Scarface. Just like Alex, am I right?
Oh, not, I spelled it wrong.
See? Yeah, I know what you meant. Yeah, exactly. See, the clues are there. I laid the clues for you.
And we just have you read sections of your books from now on because that voice was awesome.
Yes. I have voices for everything. Yeah. You don't even want to get me started. But whenever I make fun of Matt, he's like, "Oh, what are you gonna do?" So he talks. Oh.
Yeah, I still think it was some other crazy person and he was just delusional. But, you know, we can all think
Okay, and that's I kind of like left that open. I gotta wonder, were you sad when Eli died?
No.
What? I was so sad.
I thought it was brilliant, man.
Oh my gosh, I was crying. Oh, okay. Why the separate pen name? Okay, that's a good question. Can you hear me?
Yes.
The separate pen name was because basically up until that point, I hadn't really written anything on the dark and crazy side. You know, it was all kind of like, oh, lovely. And so I was like, I really want to write this story, but I don't really know, like, if people will, like, not like me afterwards. So I was like, in Elizabeth Gray, that's still my name. It's still, like, part of my name. And so I was like, I'll just use this part of my name and do a little pen name. And even though it's got love, well, kind of love, kind of romance, kind of sex in it, it's not a romance. It's an actual thriller. And so I was like, well, I'll just do this. And so I did that. And then after I did it, and people were like, oh, I like this book, blah, blah, blah. I was like, man, I really should have just did it under my name, you know, because now it's just a complicated mess. And I don't like and the other reason why I wanted to do it was because the mystery, thriller, suspense people that read these things, I didn't want them to pull up this book and see 30 other books, but they're all romance, and then there's this one, and then think, she writes romance. I don't want to read her thriller because it's going to be gushy. And so I didn't want them to have a preconceived idea, even though romance writers are the best. And so so I did that, and anyway, now I'm just kind of kicking myself, and that's why I went ahead and went in on Amazon and tied K. Webster to the name, because I thought at this point, like, I don't care. The people that read my stuff is the K. Webster people anyway, you know? Those are the ones that went over and read Elizabeth Gray anyway. So it wasn't like I even reached out to a new field, you know? So
you kind of... Oh.
I was sad because Eli thought Candace was going to go through Stockholm Syndrome and they would live happily ever after. Yes, I was sad too. I thought they were just going to raise their baby together and be happy.
Yeah.
And then he died.
Apparently, I'm the only non-crazy one here because I thought...
Cutting out again.
I really thought that Candace did what was best for her and the baby, and I probably would have done the same thing.
Yeah, I see it. Yeah, because he was unpredictable. He would have just been killing people, but it's still kind of sad when he died because he was like, I wasn't going to kill the baby. She didn't know that, though.
Yeah, well, she thought he was, like, completely batshit crazy. So she had to protect the kid.
I didn't hear what you said. Completely what?
She thought he was crazy.
Yeah.
And she wanted to protect the kid.
Yeah, he was crazy. He did some creepy stuff down in the basement.
Yeah.
The things he made her do. It's kind of a gory book, you know.
That could be a whole other book. Just the Eli and Candace actual book. Well, I think it kind of was. But, you know, it's the war series.
Eli was very just crazy, definitely. He wasn't like my Henry. my angel.
So, you haven't really done any more.
I can't
like,
hear you. You might have.
You haven't done any more. Are you going to go back to this revisit the Elizabeth Gray series, or are you going to kind of keep it K. Webster?
You know, I thought, I had started a book called Vestige of 9. I think it's the name of it. I don't remember exactly. But anyway, I started this book, and it's actually in B-Sides and Rarities, an unfinished story. And it's under Elizabeth Gray. And if I ever decided, it's kind of like a mystery, suspense, thriller kind of story. But then there's going to be like a love story. I don't know. If I ever finish it, I think I'm going to yank it out of Elizabeth Gray and put it under K. Webster. It's too complicated keeping up with two names like that and try to market them both. So Elizabeth Gray, I don't ever sign on to that Facebook or anything because I got too much going on. I can't do it. And so at this point, I've written some really heinous things, and everybody still reads it. And even if they say, "Ew, I didn't like that book as much," or whatever, I have, for every person that says, "Ew, I didn't like that book," I have somebody else saying that's the best book you ever wrote. So I feel like I have some acceptance in some of these books. So I figure, you know what, I can just write whatever I want, and some people will like it. So.
Did that prep you for your War and Peace series?
Yeah, for sure. Because I was kind of scared to put myself out there, and so then, I eased into another book, which was Dirty Ugly Toy. After that, and I kind of
love that.
Kind of crazy things in there, but it had the romance element. And then I was like, okay, I'm fixing to do something. And so because I was thinking of war, and so then I was like, okay, I'm gonna do this, and be dark, and it's gonna be twisted, but I don't think it's any more twisted than Blue. They're about the same, really.
I don't know about the same.
Yeah, it just makes to go ahead and.
But I don't know if they're the same. I mean, there wasn't any.
Blue Hill Blood, and they.
Yeah.
They're not the same thing.
Who designed the cover? I love this cover.
Thanks. I designed it.
I really like it. It's kind of cool and mystery, because it's kind of mystery.
Well, I can't even hear what you're saying, so I'm just going to talk over you. I don't even know if you can hear me. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
We can hear you.
Okay. I can't ever hear anything that she's saying down there. The cover, this is where I was thinking, I went out and I looked up thrillers and like James Patterson books and all of them, and I thought, well, what do they look like? And they had their name all big down here, and then they had a little title, and so I kind of mimicked that so that it would stand out in their little section, but they don't read it over there. Only my romance readers read it. So I could have done whatever, but I like it. I think it looks cool.
I like it. It's nice.
Thanks.
Do you have any more questions, Tasha?
I don't. I think we got it all. And, poor Christy can't hear anything I'm saying. So it's like she might as well just start reading lips.
I know. Well, I can't. You're frozen every time, too. So I can't even read lips. You're just staring at me. And I'm like, what's happening? And I hear like these little choppy parts that say like psychotic writer. And I'm like, is she talking to? Who's she talking to?
Well, thank you, even through our technical difficulties. Thank you for being here with us. It was fun to kind of ask you about the book as we went through it. We really enjoyed it.
Yeah, that was fun, and maybe y'all ask me to do it again one day. Maybe I can just read passages to, and do all the voices, and make my own little audiobook.
Yeah, we're definitely gonna do Braxton Bunny and make you read some of it.
Oh yeah, that one. I can do his voice. Bunny. That sounds just like it.
I want to put a disclaimer: we're not drinking. Well, not really drinking. So, this is just us.
Grape juice.
Thank you, everybody, for joining us. We really enjoyed the Buddy Read this month, and we really, really enjoyed talking to Christy about the book and what she was thinking while she was writing it, because she does do a lot of the crazy stuff. So it's good to know what she was thinking, and thank you for making me think that I'm a Clive. I appreciate that.
We're Creeper Clives. We should get shirts. Creeper Clive Club.
Yes. Be yellow. It could be yellow, the color of his fingernails.
Exactly.
Oh, yeah.
We will hope to talk to you again. Thank you for joining us, and
Thanks, Christy.
All right. Thank you, guys.
Bye.
Thanks.